2024 Lamborghini Revuelto review. Lamborghini is an onomatopoeia. Lamborghini has been in the business of memory making for 60 years. And it doesn't have any intention of stopping now, but in a digitized, electrified future. Good intentions aren't enough. That's why the 2024 Lamborghini Revuelto, the automaker's first plug-in hybrid vehicle, blends a naturally aspirated 6.5-litre V12, evoking memories of the shrieking Countach and Murcielago, with a 7.4 kilowatt-hour battery and 3 electric motors to reduce emissions, increase performance, and improve drivability. The new supercar promises to combine all those attributes without sacrificing any of the raw excitement its customers have come to expect of a Lambo flagship. The Lamborghini Revuelto's powertrain seems impossibly complicated. Although I remembered the 3 electric motors, rear axle steering, and revised engine layout from the supercar's debut in March, I had no idea how interconnected those systems were in practice. Taking the place of a drive shaft in the center tunnel is the aforementioned lithium-ion battery, which sends power forward to axial flux electric motors, 1 for each wheel. Those motors provide true torque vectoring, putting out 295 horsepower and 257 pound-feet each, enabling a wheel torque delta of 1,586 pounds ft side to side. The third motor, meanwhile, is a conventional radial flux unit mounted to the secondary shaft, not the input shaft, as is common on some hybrids of the new 8-speed dual-clutch transmission. Speaking of, that cogswhopper now lives Aston the V12 on all Lamborghini flagships since the Countach. The transmission was ahead of the engine, but the battery's placement precludes that possibility, integrated into the active rear differential. The 8-speed is relatively compact, helping improve weight distribution. It's also supposed to be smoother than the outgoing Aventador's single-clutch 7-speed automated gearbox, particularly since the 111 pound-ft electric motor can add a little propulsion at low speeds and during gear changes. It also handles reversing duties, by the way, but the powertrain's complexity extends into the software as well. The Revuelto's metaphorical brain is bigger than any Lamborghini before it, handling complicated tasks like torque split to individual wheels, regenerative braking, and ESC, and oh, by the way, it does all that at the same time. That's because the car uses those electric motors to handle stability duties, rather than the friction brakes. Enter a corner to hot, and the Lamborghini will turn the front inside wheel's motor into a generator, helping trim your line while recharging the battery. Gun it to hard out of a corner, and the rear motor will provide resistance on the secondary shaft, reducing wheel spin while, again, recharging the battery. Lift off the throttle to coast through a corner, and the rear motor will take advantage of the engine's momentum to, you guessed it, recharge the battery, but without actually slowing the vehicle. The theoretical result of all this power flow is that the Revuelto is always ready to give you its full 1001 horsepower, lap after lap after lap. That advanced technology doesn't even begin to cover the fast-reacting magnetic dampers, 2.5-degree rear axle steering, or upsized carbon ceramic brakes, 410mm in front and 390mm in the rear, with 10-piston and 4-piston calipers, respectively. And then there is the intimidating fighter jet cabin electronics that help the driver control all functions needed. Imagine my surprise to learn about all that complexity in the press meeting, to having driven what felt like an incredibly cohesive analog supercar, gunning it at the end of the pit lane. My internal monologue was an anxious and excited mess. I wanted to drive quickly, but reality set in the moment. I pushed the throttle toward the floor. I'm piloting a $600,000 supercar on a racetrack I've never even driven in a video game. However, despite the incredible lateral and longitudinal G-forces the Revuelto can pull. It inspires driver confidence remarkably. My first run of Vallelunga is a sighting lap, but we still drive rather briskly. On the second go-round, however, my professional lead driver gives me a lot more leash, hammering down the throttle for the duration of the front straight. Sweeping through the slight curve on the start-finish line, we eclipse 100 miles per hour, and the Revuelto's improved downforce, 30% greater on the front axle and 70% overall compared to the Aventador Ultimate, is plainly apparent. The car feels glued to the road, and steering effort increases proportionally to impart an immense feeling of stability. At these speeds, before the end of the straight, the V12 is screaming at its 9,500 RPM redline in fourth gear as we hit the brakes just after passing 150. The brake pedal is perhaps a bit too firm. Countach devotees may love it, but the carbon ceramics at the other end of the lever are easy to modulate and stupendously powerful, hauling the Revuelto down to speed with a bit of a wiggle from the rear end. But nothing even my relative novice hands can't handle. I'm able to clip the late apexes of corner complex, thanks to the sharp, direct steering. Then power out with the 1970s Grand Prix soundtrack of the V12 wailing away, that puts me on Vallelunga's back straight. Another hard charger, with a gentle sweep in the middle. By the time we've hit the braking zone for the technical set of S's and hairpins on the latter half of the course, my Revuelto speedometer reads 168 miles per hour. Or my new personal land speed record, my fingers begin to tingle out of excitement. But there's still work to be done. The shotgun cracks of each downshift accompany a commensurate decrease in momentum, and the friction and regenerative brakes work together with such perfect orchestration that Lamborghini should license the tech to every hybrid and EV manufacturer in the world. I can definitely tell the Regan-based stability controls are working to keep me going in the right direction. But that's only because I haven't lost control of those 1001 wild horses under my right foot. In almost every driving situation, the electric motors step in and out imperceptibly, giving the Revuelto a preternatural sense of connection with the road and the driver. It's truly incredible that so many power sources, microchips, and lengths of wire can work together in such harmony. If the Revuelto and its various vehicle systems sound a bit too cold and calculated to be fun to drive, I'd love to disabuse you of that notion. From the direct, heavy, and feelsome steering to the snarling T-Rex howl of the exposed V12, this Lamborghini hasn't forgotten how to have fun. As it transitions to a slightly more modern performance recipe, the unyieldingly firm bucket seats, low seating position, and excellent forward visibility only compound the engagement, connecting you to the driving task in the most thrilling way possible. Inside, the shape of the center stack was designed to look like the control panel of an alien spaceship. While hexagonal dash vents carry on in Lamborghini tradition, the rim of the steering wheel is actually thinner than that of the Aventador. The Revuelto is decently comfortable for my 6-foot frame and 32-inch inseam, even with a helmet on. Lamborghini also included some practical touches on its newest V12 supercar, including a parcel shelf behind the seats that can accommodate two backpacks. Engine, 6.5-litre V12, motor, dual axial flux front, single radial flux rear. Output, 1001 horsepower combined, 535 pound-feet, V12 only. Transmission, 8-speed dual clutch. Drive type, all-wheel drive. Battery, 7.4 kWh lithium-ion. Speed, 0 to 62 mph 2.5 seconds maximum speed. 217 miles per hour estate. Efficiency, 10 city, 16 highway, 12 combined estate. EV range, 8 miles. Estate. Charge time, 30 minutes. Estate. Weight, 3,907 pounds. Estate. Seating capacity 2. Cargo volume 6.0 cubic feet estate. Base price $608,358. Trim base price $608,358. As tested price $700,000 estate.